Hey guys, it's Steph here. So we're heading into fall. There's a lot of planting. I want to do some plants that I have in containers that have been sitting there for a good month now. So I'm going to get them in the ground. I did a recent video on this flower bed behind me. So it's kind of a tricky flower bed because half of it gets the full shade and half of it gets the full sun. So if you're new to my channel, I'll give you a quick overview, kind of show you what that looks like. And if you've already watched that previous video, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. Right here is where it gets the full sun. This isn't a great representation because we're heading into fall. We don't have as many daylight hours. This is where it gets the shade. And so there's my coral bells that I had put in here, my Sum and Substance hostas. In this flower bed, I planted a new bush called the honeysuckle. It's the night glow Devira. And a friend of mine told me that it's not deer resistant. I get a lot of deer in this front area. And I didn't take that into consideration. When I went to the nursery, it was a perfect excuse because when I discovered these Barberry, I fell in love with them. I liked them much more. I liked the color a little bit more. It paired well with my coral bells a little bit better. And then I'm gonna plant a few more shade-loving plants in this area since half of it gets full shade and half of it gets full sun. It's been kind of tricky over the years. I've been experimenting and I finally come up with something that I absolutely love. So now those night glows are hanging out in their pots. I have 3 of them. I've got to figure out a spot for them. I might give them away. If you don't struggle with deer in your yard, I would definitely keep them in the ground. So these are those night glow. I'm actually considering putting them in a container pot. They're going to cascade over that pot nicely, and then I can protect them from the deer near my house. I think I'll find a spot for them. But this is the shrub that is super deer resistant. This is the Concord Japanese Barberry, and it's a little bit smaller. It only gets about 2 to 3 feet tall and wide. And in the spring, I'll be able to shear them back, keep them nice and lush and full. But I did like how they're a little bit more on the full side, a little bit less gangly. There's so many different types of barberries out there. They have thorns. Can you see that one? Up and down their stems. So the deer don't typically eat them because they can't get around them. Rose bushes they can because they just eat off the bloom. But I love this dark color with those coral bells. So I thought that was nicer than this Devira. You guys might disagree. They have some tall varieties that get up to 6 feet tall that are a little bit more columnar. The rose glow is a beautiful option. Okay, so I actually think this Barberry only gets to about 24 inches tall and 24 inches wide. So not that 3-foot mark. So it's great for the front edge of your flower beds. These would also make a beautiful hedge. I just love the structure and form of the Barberries, but with the soft, flowy goom in spring next to this beautiful purple foliage. Cannot wait to show you guys next year. These Barberries are hardy down to zone 4. There are some varieties that are hardy down to zone 3. They're gonna thrive in your zone 9. Just give them some afternoon shade, but they really do come alive in fall. I've been driving around dropping off my kids and I don't know what it is about them, but the color seems a little bit more vibrant. They stand out a little more. So I'm really excited to finally have a few in my yard. I'm gonna be planting to finish off this shadier area, climbing hydrangea. So go ahead and let it just climb up this blank wall. I'm gonna make sure that I keep it away from this box. I'll have to trim it up a little bit. So what's awesome with the climbing hydrangeas is I'm not gonna need to trellis them. They'll just attach themselves to the brick, which is super low maintenance. So this is really shady right here. This is the north facing wall. I don't see a lot of sunlight, but it does get some evening sunlight. So it's not gonna bloom as much as maybe a partial shade area. It definitely likes that 3 to 4 hours of sunlight in my hot climate. So it's gonna have beautiful foliage regardless of how many blooms I get. I actually have 2 other climbing hydrangeas throughout my yard that will get plenty of sunlight. So I'm not necessarily planting it here for those blooms, definitely for the foliage, just to add some more interest. You just can't have too many plants, can you? The biggest eyesore in this flower bed is this AC unit. So I have a plan for this. I'm gonna build some sort of picket fence type decorative thing around it and paint it a dark green, something that kind of blends in. And so it'll be an accent piece. And I think that will make a huge difference. Finishing off with some peonies right here. This is the Mother's Choice variety. I'm on the search for one more. I got rid of my tiny ones. I wanted to start out a little bit bigger since they take forever to grow, about 3 to 4 years until they're established. The Mother's Choice peony is so beautiful. I fell in love with it. It comes out kind of a white with a soft blush pink. It gets about 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide. They're so cold hardy all the way down to zone 3. And then when they're not blooming, the foliage is great all season and they're really beautiful before they pop out. It'll come out late spring to early summer and they're so versatile. So they can handle the part shade area, the full sun. So this area is just a little bit more shady. So I'm gonna add a 3rd one. And then we've got our hostas. I love peonies and hostas together. So right here, I had some creeping Jenny. I found a great alternative to creeping Jenny because it can be kind of aggressive and not so good for a lot of climates. So I found this germander sage, and this is a slow growing ground cover. It's kind of more shrubby. Look at that color, and it's gonna get these cute rosy pink blooms in the summer, and it only spreads to about 12 inches and it gets about 6 to 8 inches tall. So I thought this was a great alternative. So up here on the full sun area on my upper half of this flower bed, we've got some of my Atlas roses. They're starting to pop out again. This is why I love planting roses, is you're gonna get a beautiful show late spring to summer, and then when fall hits they start to go crazy again. And then I've got my catmint that I divided, so it's looking a little bit sad. I just wanted to hedge it around these roses, and I have a 6 Hills Giant in the center that's going to get tall and fill in this space. So catmint and roses, one of my absolutely favorite combinations. I'm just so excited about this entire area. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing I planted over there. This is the part 2 series, I guess, of my tricky flower bed. Let's walk over there real quick. This looks like a mess right now. I've got to do some weeding. I've got some anemone. I just highlighted this on one of my ground cover videos, but this is going to be such a fun bloom for the fall color. It's kind of a ground cover / fall bloom. This is the Pocahontas variety. I know they don't look like much, but they'll get established here in a couple years and they'll get about 18 to 24 inches tall. So I planted, I think, 12 plants right here. So I did some research with the anemone. I wanted to clarify a few things because there are some varieties that you should look out for that are not going to be as invasive, that you can keep in control, and look for the hybrida varieties. So this Pocahontas is one of those, the Honorine Jobert, and then you've got your Wild Swan that comes out in the summer. So just make sure when you go to the nursery, you look at the labels, look for that species, and you should be okay. So that goom over there is going to give me that spring color. The coral bells will give some blooms, and hostas in the summer. You've got your peonies, you've got your roses. So I'm going to get blooms the entire gardening season. And then when fall hits, the anemone really take off. It's going to be awesome with that black mondo grass and my beautiful Carl Fuchs evergreen right here. Look at all that growth it's put on. This is brand new, and I think I planted it about 1.5 to 2 months ago. It is hard to beat that silver color when it comes out. This is going to give me some winter interest, and so I'm really happy. I worked hard to figure this one out, to have interest the entire gardening season, especially during the winter time. So I've got my trees, I've got some shrubs, and I've got some of those perennials and blooms the entire gardening season. So way to go, Stephanie. I'm patting myself on the back. So I've officially finished this flower bed for now. I hope you guys are having a great day. I do not want the gardening season to end, but it's always nice to have a little break so I can really enjoy it again in the next year. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye.